Hey, good evening, everybody. Peter Vexelman here. It is Tuesday Night Live. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Actually, if you've been following me, I just realized you've probably never seen this scenery here before, right? Like I've been in this place upstairs. I think I've been in it on a third floor, but I've never been here on the second floor doing this. So first time for everything, right? Actually, the reason I'm here is something's wrong. I like to do this from upstairs from my office space up there on the fourth floor, but something's wrong with the internet connection. So it's not been hitting. So what do? You adjust, right? That's all you do. You just make an adjustment. So welcome everybody. For those of you that are joining us, if you don't mind, share where you're dialing in from. What's up, Brad? How are you, buddy? What's up, Shane? We got Marietta represented. Marietta is literally, for those of you that don't know, like Marietta is a hop, skip, and a jump from where I'm sitting right now. Probably no more than 10, 15 minutes. Cumming, Georgia, that's where our office used to be. What's up, Tammy? How are you? We got Tampa, Florida in a house. We got Virginia in a house. What's up, Glenn? How you doing? Corpus Christi, Texas. What's up, Greg? Texas again. Yeah, well, Texas is knocking it out. Speaking of Texas, I know the football season started, but I'm such a small follower of it. But I do like the Dallas Cowboys. So if somebody let me know, did the Cowboys play yesterday, this weekend? And how did we do? That's about my overall involvement in athletics. What's up, David? DC in the house. What's up, Ron? More Texas in the house. What's up, Talon? How are you? Massachusetts in the house. Hey, David. We got St. Augustine in the house. We got DC in the house. I used to have an apartment in St. Augustine, right by their historic hotel there in a corner, and literally 2 doors down. I had an interest in one of the houses, and we expanded into Jacksonville. And so we would stay actually in St. Augustine. Amazing city, tons of history. I think it's the city where most weddings take place than anywhere else across the country, from what I understand. Michigan, I don't even know where Holland is. Where is Holland, Michigan? All right, Monte, you got to let me know where Holland, Michigan is. Hey, Melissa, how are you? What's up, Graham? Phoenix in the house, one of the hottest markets out there. South Carolina in a house. Just remembered something. Literally, as I was talking to you guys, I just realized that there's another partner deal. Oh, here it is. Just got this text from Julie. Okay, we're a go on West Virginia house. Let's see, we're buying it for 118. We're putting 30 into it, and ARV, we're selling it for 210. We just gave our partner Ed a go ahead. So congratulations, Ed. Congratulations. That's going to be the next deal we're doing with Ed. So what's up, Delaware? Woodstock, Illinois. How are you? Oh, I see they won. The Cowboys won 20-17. Thank you, Monte. Who they beat? I don't even know who they played. California in the house. What's up, Candy? Cowboys won. Houston, Texas. All right. How you doing, Katie? New York City or New York State? One is in the other. I get it. Hey, what's up, Ira? Heard you're making some moves, financial moves. Congrats. We were just talking about you today. Keep going, keep leveling up. Annette from Commerce. I think Julie has a house in Commerce that she bought from me, actually. We did a deal in Commerce. I was holding it long term, and then Julie's like, can I buy it off of you? And then I think she ended up selling to one of their relatives, from what I remember. Hey, what's up, Glenn? Cowboys won. Yes, 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 yes. We got to love that. Eugene Faulkner from Chicago. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys. Well, it is that time. It is that time. Again, thank you all for being here. Again, my name is Peter Vekselman with Partner Driven Real Estate Investing. What I am is I am a real estate investor, but what I do is very unusual as far as real estate investing goes. We partner with people all across the United States and we do real estate deals with them. We coach them, we generate leads for them. We provide the back office support. We provide technology. We provide a very cool CRM called Deal Engine HQ to rotate their leads in. Obviously, we provide all the capital to get the deals done, and then we put these properties in a market, sell them, and split the profits down the middle, 50-50. And that is the partner-driven model. This is how we do all of our deals at this point here at Partner Driven. And as a whole, I've been at this thing for over 2 decades, about 22, 23 years now. As a whole, I've done thousands of real estate deals before, and I could tell you, as a 22-year veteran in this business, I've never, ever, 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 ever been more excited about being a real estate investor. See, the truth be told, I've never been excited about being a real estate investor. Like I never grew up thinking, oh, wow, I want to get into the sexiest profession in the world, and that's called real estate investing. So truth be told, real estate investing never, ever, ever got me excited, even when I was at the top of the game as a single investor. And I guess to this day, the act of real estate does not get me excited, but I am more excited than ever because of how our model is working, because of this text that I just read. For those of you that just popped on, we just approved another deal for one of our partners, Ed Lindsay. We're buying it for 118, spending 30 in it and selling it for 210. That is exciting. That is exciting. I could tell you there's something special that takes place when you do something with someone else. There's something special that takes place that when you win, somebody else wins. There's something exciting that takes place when you truly have the ability to help people out. And it's, again, this is nothing that ever hit me when I got into real estate business. It is not something that ever drove me when I got into the real estate investing business. But I could tell you, I get giddy excited about being in a partner-driven model right now, because partnering with people, struggling with people, making things happen with people, succeeding, sometimes failing with people, man, I'm telling you, it's just, this is my kind of thing. This is my kind of thing. So although today we're going to talk about specifically about real estate investing, because I know that's why people want to tune in on days like this. They want to learn something. They want to maybe be inspired by something we have to share. We're going to talk about real estate investing, but I could tell you what we do here at Partner Driven is way, way, way beyond investing. I believe that we're changing lives for the better. I believe we're connecting with people that otherwise we would not have been able to connect with. We have partners that are having an incredible impact in their communities. Like, who'd have known years ago that when we started Partner Driven Model that we would actually be excited that some of our partners are literally having an impact in their local communities for the better, not for the worse, right? Think about this. If you turn the TV on, most everything you see, when the neighborhood stuff that's going on out there, some of the violent stuff that's taking place over the last year or so, it's all negative. It is cool to be part of a community, part of an organization, part of a team where we're actually making a powerful, positive impact. And what do? We help people out. You know, make no mistake about it. Sometimes people think, well, you're a real estate investor and you're just trying to get something up on someone else. Not true at all. It's not true at all. There are people that need what we have. See, as a real estate is just a real overall real estate. Real estate experiences 2 types of sellers. That's it. There's 2 types of sellers when it comes to real estate when it comes to the real estate industry. There's what is known as a retail investor. Okay. Retail seller. And a retail seller has got a property and they want the top dollar for it. In turn, they are okay to sit on it for a while. In turn, they're okay to put maybe $20,000 or $30,000 in renovations into it before it goes in the market. They're okay to have 20, 30 people march through their property looking at it. They're prepared to take their time with it. That is what is known as a retail buyer. We as investors work with other buyers. They're called wholesale buyers, sellers. And what a wholesaler is, time is of the essence. They probably don't have that $20, $30, or $40,000 that is needed to fix up that property. They don't have the luxury of having 20 or 30 people walk through their properties. And that is what is known as a wholesale seller. And those people cannot, most of the time, take their properties to the open market. And this is where we as investors help. So in the partner-driven model, we literally help our partners do real estate deals, split the profits, and make a bunch of money. As a unit at partner-driven, what we do at partner-driven is we literally help people get out of what are pretty tough situations. Can you think of a better business model than that? And this is why I truly can tell you, I'm flat out excited about being part of the partner-driven team. So that is what we do. Now, today, I want to teach you something. I want to teach you something as it relates to being a real estate investor. Now, if you've been following me, maybe on social media, maybe you follow me through these weekly webinars, and you've been doing it over an extended period of time, you may think to yourself that, Pete, I think I've heard you talk about this. I think I've heard you mention what you're talking about today. Well, guess what? I have. And that's another incredible thing about being a real estate investor. You don't got to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to know 50,000 different things. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten to where I've gotten. As a real estate investor, what I always tell people is this: you just have to master some basic things. You just have to master some basic matrix. You just have to master some basic techniques and strategies. And if you could just really master these basic things, you can hit it out of the ballpark. You know, many times people look at me and like I do a lot of interviews, like a podcast interview or a radio interview. And one of the most frequently asked questions I get asked all the time is this: look, you've been at this thing for a couple of decades, you're still at it, and it'll be a form of a question like, what has changed? What are you doing now that you didn't do back then? Like what? And you know, the more I delve into that question, the more I think about that question, the more often I get asked that question, the more I realize not a ton. Now, technology has taken things to the next level. How we do things is more modern, but the ultimate basics of the business, like the ultimate essence of what real estate is, has not only changed from the 20 years that I've been in this thing. If you go back another decade before then and another decade before then, they're still pretty fundamental. What happens with the change of time is we just introduce things into it, right? We introduce these things called smartphones. Well, guess what? I didn't even have a smartphone 22 decades ago. But what the smartphone allows me to do is it really only allows me to perform the basics of this business at a higher level. But they're still the basics. So today, I want to share with you about one of the basic fundamentals of the real estate investing business. And it's a big one. I'm not going to share with you today techniques or strategies. I want to share with you today a mile marker, a matrix, because a lot of times people don't understand what the matrix of the business need to look like what the numbers need to look like. And because they don't understand what the matrix or the numbers or the milestones need to look like, they many times misinterpret how well they're doing, right? And because they misinterpret how well they're doing or how poorly they're doing, they many times make the wrong decisions about whether to go in and stay in this business or not. Now, the good thing is in the lane that I stay in really does not have a lot of matrix. I can tell you, thank goodness for me, because I'm not a big, sophisticated matrix numbers guy. That would definitely complicate me. But there are some absolutely key matrix to understand about this business. And here's the thing, as long as I've been at this, these matrix have pretty much stayed the same. But here's the real big thing. When you accomplish these types of milestones, when you're able to hit these matrix, when you're able to sustain these numbers, you know what else has pretty much stayed the same? The results on the back end. So when many times people talk about this business, you know, I'm not as far as I want to be. I'm not as rich as I should be. I haven't done as many deals as I have, right? Many times I'll ask them, well, what makes you think that? What makes you think that you have not made the kind of money that you should be making? Show me some kind of proof that somebody in your position doing as long as you have this in the area, you know, all this, tell me where the information data is that allows you to say you're not where you want to be, you're not as successful, and really most of the time they don't. So this is when I tell them, then let's do this. Let's get really zeroed in. Let's get really focused in on a couple key matrix in this business. By the way, which are all very achievable. And let's hit these matrix. And then just as disappointed as you are now, and again, I'm talking conceptually here, obviously, but then just as disappointed as you are now in what you perceive the results should be, I could almost, can't guarantee it, but I could sure as heck come within 80 to 90% accuracy of actually letting you know that when you hit these matrix, this is what the results will be. And so when it comes to this business, don't judge it by conceptuals. Don't judge it by how you think you should be doing this, or how well, or how far, or how much, based upon what you think. Judge it by some established, proven, time-tested numbers that once you yourself start hitting them, it works out like clockwork. It works out just like clockwork. So let me take a step back and let me bring you back to where I was many years ago, before the partner-driven model was brought into existence. Before the partner-driven model was brought to existence, I was your typical real estate investor. Like, find a property, do something with that property, and then get rid of that property. You know, cash flow it, sell it, rent it, whatever. And I did that actually very well. Did thousands of real estate deals like that, had an incredible support team around me that, by the way, once we switched to the partner-driven model, now that whole support team just basically changed their hats. They're still doing the exact same things, except doing it for me. They're not doing it with and for my partners. So if we take this back several years back to where I, along with the team, was running our real estate investment company, one of my big goals back then was very simple. I wanted to do one deal away. Okay? One deal away, one deal a day. One deal away is actually something we have also. So I wanted to close one deal a day. Now, just think of if I just tasked my team with that. Hey, one deal a day, call me when you get there. Be kind of silly, right? It'd be kind of silly, because for one closing to take place every day, there had to be numerous things that had to happen in the beginning, right? Contractors, inspections, closings, money, capital raises, real estate agents' involvement, negotiations, 30 things need to happen from, hey, get me one closing a day, right? So just to say to my team back then, hey, get me one closing a day, which sure would be pretty darn pompous of me. And the bottom line is, it would be nothing that could be replicated. It could be gotten to by luck. Like, wow, we had 3 days in a row, one closing. How did that happen? Well, we're not really sure. So I knew at that point I had to start establishing certain matrix in this business. And ultimately, I ran my whole real estate investment company off these matrix. Meaning, did I still once a week ask the magic question, how many closings do we have? Of course I did. It'd be silly for me not to. But what I really asked is this next question. How many do we have under contract? And believe it or not, I had done thousands of real estate deals off that one matrix. Somewhere along the line, I bought in that is the most important matrix out there. Somewhere along the line, I realized that the most important matrix is not like, how much money can we save on each rehab? Like, hey, if we go to Home Depot instead of Lowe's, we could buy these types of nails for 20 cents cheaper. Well, I never bought into those matrix. Not saying they're not important. Never bought into the matrix of capital raises, right? Oh, look, I'm raising capital at 8.5% and you're at like 8.25% or 8.75%. Never bought into those matrix, okay? Because ultimately those matrix, you move the needle just a little bit. Or you move the needle from here to here is by understanding how many properties you have under control. Because I learned a long time ago in this business that the ultimate matrix is very simple. He who controls the most deals makes the most money. It's not who has the most closings. It's not who's got the most money. It's not anything that most people think that's the most important thing. All those things are byproducts, and they're important byproducts, right? Closing is a byproduct. That's it. Closing, make no mistake about it, it is not a driving indicator. It is a byproduct. Capital in your checking accounts, that is a byproduct. That is not a leading indicator. That is a byproduct of. And when push comes to shove, any angle you look at in the real estate investing business, it all originates with how much real estate do you control or have under contract. I realized many years ago that I could literally set that matrix, right? Set that matrix and run my whole business off of it. So when I years ago decided that one of my goals as a real estate investor was to close one deal a day, I realized that there was a certain matrix of how many I had under contract I had to meet. Now, it just so happened, because I know a lot of you are like, well, just give us the matrix. Okay. To do one deal a day, back in the days that we were doing everything ourselves, we needed to have around 60, 70, or 80 properties under contract at all times. 60 to 70 to 80 properties under contract. So that was the number that I lived with. I could literally at that point call it in, right? Not even walk it in, but call it in every Monday morning or whenever we did these and say, hey, Mary, how many we got under contract? And as long as there was somewhere 60, 70, or 80 range, I knew we're fine. I didn't have to know anything else. Now, did I know a lot of, yes, it is my responsibility as an owner to know other things too. But that was the key indicator for the most important thing as it relates to everything that we all do, and that's about doing deals, right? It wasn't like, hey, Mary, let me see the spreadsheets on our rehab numbers. Like, how much money did we save in this last one as opposed to this one? Believe it or not, it wasn't even from my call room. I had a whole room full of negotiators. It wasn't even from the call room of how many calls are they making, okay? I knew everything was in line if that one matrix was in line. Now, Was it important to know how many calls the negotiators were making, how many deals they're putting under contract? Yes. But again, the key indicator, see, that did not tell me how many closings I would have, because there's still like 30 steps in between. But how many deals we had under contract told me everything I needed to know. Told me were the negotiators making enough calls? Were the inspectors inspecting enough deals? Were the rehab people ready to do more deals? Was my capital raises enough to buy properties? Like, every question that you as a business owner in the real estate investment business need to have answered, every question could have been answered by that one key number. So for me, 60 to 70 to 80 became kind of like a rallying cry. You know, everybody in the office bought into it, understood it, and supported it. Because here's what happens in here. And so people will say, well, wait a second, 80 properties in a contract to get one closing? No. One closing a day. One closing a day. Why do you need that many why not have, let's say, 35 properties under contract? Why not have 18 properties under contract? Okay. Here's what happens when you have a property under contract. Now, for those of you that have done any kind of real estate investing, well, like when I tell you this, you're like, yep, that's exactly what happens when you put a property under contract. One of three things take place when you have a property under contract. Some during the inspection time, all the time before you get it under contract and the time you go to closing, some just die. Matter of fact, believe it or not, statistically, like, this has nothing to do with what we do or what I did, but across the nation, most deals die out. It's just, again, that's just the way real estate works. So some die, some get put off for whatever reason. Somebody gets sick in the middle of the deal, a title issue comes up, all of a sudden wrong numbers come in, so you have to go through renegotiations, which takes place longer. Sometimes sellers change their mind and you got to put a little pressure on them, right? So some die, some get kicked back, and some close. Simple as that. Some die, some get kicked back, and some will close. So what happens when you do something over and over and over and over and over again? What do you learn? You learn your numbers. I knew that for the Atlanta market, which is where I'm based out of, for what I was doing, for everything involved, I knew that that number was 60 to 70 to 80. It was history taught me that. My own activities taught me that. It was a no-brainer. It became my one key indicator. And so I share this with you for one very basic reason. Some of you are doing really well right now, and I applaud you. Whether you're doing it with us or you're doing it by yourself, you know, but you're on track. I mean, you're on track by any stretch of imagination. Okay, I'm getting indicators I'm going in and out. Hopefully, Kristen text me back if I'm back on track or if I'm still going in and out. But hopefully you guys could hear me. Like literally, I told you I came from 4th floor to here because I was told I was going out of there. Okay, thank you. I'm being told I'm good. So some of you, like I said, are on track. You're doing great, hitting out a ballpark. By any stretch of imagination, anybody would look at your investment business and you're like, Right on. Congratulations. Some of you are not where you want to be, and you're kind of like you're a little bit confused of why. You feel like you're doing what needs to be done. You feel like you should be further along than you are. You feel like that there should be some more, as you turn around, you feel like there should be more results than I see right now. I'm going to flip it upside down for you tonight. And I'm going to tell you this. I want you to base all of your feelings, all of your judgments, all of your conclusions in this business on one matrix. That's it. Just narrow down to one matrix. How many properties are you controlling? How many properties are you controlling? Now, I know what some of you are asking, like, well, Pete, like you're telling me I got to get 60, 70, 80. No, that's to do one deal a day. And if you're at zero, and there's a lot of room, plenty of money to be made from zero to doing one deal a day, okay? Even if you never get there, you'll be just fine if you at least get it to the initial couple levels. So what I'm about ready to share with you is what I always tell the beginners where that first matrix is. By the way, I've adjusted this. I have adjusted this because of the unprecedented times that we're in. Okay? Because sometimes you do have to make adjustments based upon what's taking place, based upon conditions. Things change. And if you're not willing at least to make some slight adjustments, remember when we started, I said, basically what I did 20 years ago is the basics are still the basics. Well, that's true. But then I also said there's some fine tuning involved. Well, this is a fine tune. Up until the COVID, the pandemic, my always initial number used to be, and for those of you that have been with me that long, will remember that initial number was always 5 to 7. 5 to 7. I've always told people back then, if you can get 5 to 7 deals under contract at all times, the numbers will work out just like mine. Some will fall out, some will get pushed back, and some will close. I made an adjustment in that number, and let me tell you why. We're in a very hot market now. And I want to spend tonight explaining all the things that are taking place, all the pre-foreclosures that are, hitting the market. That's not what tonight's all about. So just kind of trust me in this. You don't have to be a real estate investor to know the market is hot everywhere, right? And because the market is so hot, when you get control of inventory, the chances of us closing on it are much higher than before. So whereas before, some will fall out, some will get pushed back, some will close, that initial drop point I always said was about 5 to 7 to do about a deal a month. And I think anybody that can get into the rhythm of doing a deal a month, okay, in their initial stages in his business, which means the first initial couple of years, you're never going to be disappointed. Promise you. But because we're in such a hot market, when we control real estate a lot less, now things still fall out, still things get pushed back. Don't misunderstand me, but a lot less so. Why? Because we're in a hot market and buyers are not as picky as they used to be. Buyers are like, oh, I can take that. I'll take it. Oh, that needs a little work. I got it. It's also easier for buyers to get money. And when it's easier to get money as a buyer, it makes the buying decision a lot easier. Like when it's difficult to get that money and you're paying crazy interest for it, you're shaking till you go to closing. You're like, oh man, am I making this right decision? I'm going with a adjustable rate mortgage, or I'm going with a balloon, or I'm getting into a 6% mortgage. they're giving money away practically now. So when they're giving you money away, my use for that money becomes a lot easier to make a decision with, right? It's cheaper money. I mean, it's just common sense. So because of all these things, I have now adjusted, or I've recently adjusted in the last several months, that initial number of, like, as an investor rolling into this business, or as an investor who's not quite where they need to be in this business yet, I tell people the number you're shooting for is right around 2, 3, or 4. 2, 3, or 4. So 3, I guess, on average. You should always have about 2, 3, or 4 properties under contract at all times. And so people will say many times to me, well, gosh, Pete, I have 10 under contract. And I'm like, okay, congratulations. When did you close the last one? Well, I haven't closed anything. Got it. These have to be legitimate contracts that have a legitimate chance of closing, right? Your number should be in line, right? Might have to make some adjustments, renegotiations, but I'm not saying go put 20 properties under contract that are worth 100,000 and put them under contract for 100,000 and just sit back and say, well, Pete said this thing's going to go. That's not what I'm saying. You still have to meet the minimum requirements, meaning they have to pass the mustard of the numbers making sense. But if the numbers make sense and you're constantly not just at a bleep, like for 3 weeks and then out, but consistently get a consistent form or consistent length of time where you do have those properties, quantity of properties under contract, they're going to work out in your favor. Some will die for whatever reason. Some will get pushed back for whatever reason. And some are going to close. And some are going to close. So tonight, if you commit yourself to nothing else other than, I got to get to 2, 3, or 4. Again, remember, the key is consistently, not just a spurt for a couple weeks or a month with having that, and then all of a sudden they all fall out and nothing gets replaced. That's not what I'm talking about. Consistency of efforts is an incredible pillar of success that most unsuccessful people have no idea about. But the consistency of efforts needs to be there because you got to maintain this, right? There's no race car driver that ever won a Formula Grand Prix by going 210 miles an hour for 3 minutes of that Grand Prix. There's no one ever did anything incredible. There's no incredible business owner that got to be an incredible business owner by about a 2-month span being an incredible business owner and for 10 years being a crappy one. 2, 3, or 4 at all times, tied up with the pillar of success of consistency of efforts. Don't let go. Don't let go. Don't slow down. Don't ease up on the pedal. Maintain. And the numbers are going to start working out. And by the way, this is why I love what we do here, Partner Driven, because we allow our partners to stay focused on exactly what I've just been talking about in the last 45 minutes. We take all the distractions out of it. All the other things that need to be done have to be done. I'm sorry, not just need, but have to, like 100%. To maintain a business, we at Partner Driven handle for our partners. The back office, the CRM with the lead gen, the raising of capital, which is a monster to support everything and everyone, the hiring and working with and sometimes firing the office staff to maintain everything, the running of the comps, the filling out of the contracts, the coordination of buyers and sellers and closings and changes, and staying on top of bad titles, all of the minutia that ultimately overwhelms most people. We here at Partner Driven take care of our partners so that they can focus on one thing: maintaining the most important matrix that exists in the real estate investing business. How many you got under contract? How many you got under contract? That's the only thing you got to focus on. All that other stuff, the 30 other things that I just mentioned, they all have to be done. But none of them are going to make you $1. Getting a contract out to a seller has never made anyone any money. But unless you get that contract out to the seller, like through DocuSign or whatever, a deal never happens. Coordinating buyers and sellers for closings has never made $1 for anyone in the world. But every deal that ever closed had to have that done. Raising capital has never made me a penny, ever made me a penny raising the kind of capital I've raised over decades in this business. But it had to have been to keep this thing going. So a Partner Driven, we clear all that out. I call it minutia, but that's not even a good word for it. You know, we clear those aspects of this business that need to be done that are non-money making, and we do them with and for, many times literally all for our partners, but we're always there helping them through it so that they can focus an overwhelming amount of their time on the only thing that'll ever make you $1 in this business, and that is identifying a deal and slapping a contract on it. That's money right there. That's money. And that's why I'm excited that here at Partner Driven, and for those of you that are here part of our partners, you probably know what I'm about ready to launch into. But we're ready. If you're not a partner yet, you need to get on the bandwagon, like in the next, like immediately. Because starting October 2nd, and I think, Kristen, text me how many are registered now. I'm going to give you the number, but starting October 2nd, we have dozens of partners that are raising their hand and saying, you're telling me it's about that activity, it's about that effort to get them tied up? I'm all in. And starting October 2nd, if you're a partner, we're going to give you the ability to level up, to get those 2 to 3 to 4, always tied up and always under contract. We're going to have an incredible run. I'm not going to go into those details, but if you're bought in tonight that, yes, that makes sense. I get the matrix. I get I'm not there. 89 partners have committed. 89 partners have committed to basically getting to where I've been discussing today. That's a lot. And starting October 2nd, all of our partners that want to do it, we're not only laying the pathway for them, but we're going to be executing it, right? It's not just teaching somebody something and tell them go do it. It's actually taking that person by the hand and saying, let's do it together. And that is why I'm so excited about what is about ready to take place here at Partner Driven. Partner Driven is about ready to level up itself, because we here at Partner Driven are about ready to help dozens and dozens and dozens of our partners level up. And that's October 2nd. By the way, if you're a partner and you're like, what is October 2nd? you need to like contact back office, pop over to our Facebook, and you'll see it's big. And if you're on the fence about being a partner, and you're like, hey, this thing that we're starting October 2nd, it's worthy of itself to become a partner, because the timing couldn't be any better. Couldn't be any better. So what was tonight all about? Tonight was about making a real estate business a lot simpler than most of you guys are making. Because tonight we narrowed it down to one kind of basic thing. Do whatever it takes, however long it takes, however difficult it is, to get to that beginning matrix on this business of constantly and consistently having 2 to 3 to 4 properties under contract. That's what tonight's all about. Whatever it takes. For those of you that are partners, the pathway's being blown up right in front of you. It's just the mountains are being blown through. The seas are being parted. And a road's being built. So let's go. If you're not a partner and you're like, I want to be part of this experience, then we have a number of team members on standby tonight. Somebody could put that phone number up into chat. We have a number of team members standing by tonight that'll answer whatever additional questions you may have about what it means to become a partner that I may have not answered. And literally on standby to get you started. And they're at 770-746-8585. 770-746-8585. So on behalf of myself, the incredible Kristen that I know was behind the scenes today, and most importantly, the whole partner-driven staff that makes all this possible, I just want to tell you, I really enjoyed it. I do truly hope you got some value. But beyond any of that, I hope you take some action, because I'm telling you, what I told you today works. And it works all the time, everywhere. And it'll keep on working. Thanks, guys. Bye.